Chosen one, what I'm about to reveal may challenge everything you think you know about yourself. If you're reading this right now, it is not an accident. Something far greater than chance has guided you here, because a shift of cosmic proportions is unfolding within you. You are stepping into a level of power so profound, so reality-altering, that even gods have taken notice. The very forces that once shaped destiny are pausing, questioning, trying to understand who or what you truly are. You are no longer merely awakening. You have become the mystery that even divine beings cannot decipher. The things you once longed for are already bending toward you, not because you pleaded for them, but because reality itself is beginning to reshape around your presence. Only those ready to embrace the full truth of who they are will reach the end of this message. And if you do, nothing in your life, nor in the cosmos, will ever be the same again. The first tremor was not physical. It was spiritual, a ripple that did not shake mountains, but shook the certainty of beings who believed themselves unshakable. The gods felt something slip between the cracks of their omniscience, something they could not trace, measure, or anticipate. For the first time since the forging of the cosmos, they felt uninformed. That rare spark of uncertainty spread through the heavens like a cold wind. They gathered upon their thrones, whispering in languages older than time, asking one another what force could possibly touch their realm without permission. None had an answer. Silence held the heavens hostage. Gods who commanded storms, sculpted fate, and dictated the rise and fall of civilizations looked at one another with quiet dread. They were accustomed to watching mortals stumble into destiny, but this was different. This was the moment they realized something had entered the universe that was not born from prophecy nor shaped by celestial design, something beyond their blueprints, beyond their authority, something that defied even their concept of creation. They searched their libraries of eternity, scriptures etched in stardust, cosmic tablets only divine minds could read. Every scroll, every archive returned nothing. No prophecy, no omen, no warning. An anomaly with no origin. A power with no precedent. For the first time, the gods were forced to confront the possibility that the universe had grown in ways they could no longer fully grasp. And this terrified them more than any rebellion or war they had ever fought. Even the greatest oracles, whose visions pierced the veils of time, stood mute. We do not know what it is, they admitted, and the entire pantheon stiffened. If the oracles could not name it, what hope did any of them have? The heavens, once a fortress of certainty, now felt disturbingly hollow, as though something immense and unstoppable loomed just beyond their awareness. That was the moment the gods knew something had shifted forever, not in the mortal world, not in cosmic balance, but within themselves. For the first time in divine history, they were not the highest certainty. They were the ones asking questions. And every question led to a single, terrifying truth. Someone had arrived who could not be predicted. Someone who made even gods feel small. They attempted their oldest rituals, incantations capable of piercing the deepest hidden truths, trying to trace your origin through the foundations of time. Yet every attempt struck an unbreakable wall. Your essence refused to be categorized, as if deliberately shielding itself from analysis. It was not silence, it was defiance. A cosmic no, directed at the very architects of reality. Some gods speculated you were a lost fragment of a forgotten titan. Others believed you were a mistake, an anomaly birthed from a cosmic accident. None of the explanations felt complete. Nothing could account for the magnitude of the energy surrounding you. Even the oldest gods admitted they could not place you within any known spectrum of power. They summoned primordial watchers who slumbered beneath the roots of creation, an act that frightened the gods more than any prophecy ever could. If you were not of their universe, then you existed outside their rules, outside their governance, outside their comprehension. That meant you could not be controlled, measured, or anticipated. In all divine history, only one type of being carried such qualities: a cosmic wild card. A force of nature so pure and unrestrained that even creation itself struggled to classify it. And still, one truth towered above the rest. You were here. You were real. Your presence cracked open an era where the divine themselves tasted ignorance. You became the mystery that beings of omnipotence could not solve. Your first act was neither loud nor destructive nor intentionally profound. It simply should not have been possible. Some said you reached into a dying star and revived it as casually as breathing. Others claimed you spoke a word that bent an entire timeline back into alignment. A few insisted you merely opened your eyes and reality adjusted around you. Whatever the truth, the impact was the same. You had done something the gods themselves could not. For millions of years, they had been the upper limit of capability, the measuring stick for the impossible. Yet here you were, surpassing their benchmark without effort, not by ascending through trials, not by claiming a throne, but by existing. You broke a rule no god had ever dared test, because even they feared the consequences of such power. And you broke it effortlessly, without ritual, without sacrifice. A shockwave of disbelief surged across the heavens. Gods who witnessed it exchanged looks of stunned silence, their immortal minds struggling to process what they had seen. It was not yet jealousy. It was confusion tangled with fear. You had reached into a realm of power reserved. Mortals began whispering your name without knowing why. Angels and starbound spirits altered their trajectories, drawn like iron to a celestial magnet. This infuriated gods who had never known what it felt like to be overshadowed. For eons they had been the apex, the peak of admiration. Now they felt like background figures in a story that suddenly had a new protagonist. Some tried to confront you with booming voices and cosmic displays. Every encounter ended the same. Their power dimmed, their storm softened, their thrones trembled. Not because you attacked, but because your existence dwarfed theirs. They realized too late that you did not need to outshine them. You simply existed, and that alone eclipsed them. Whispers spread that you might be the successor the universe had been quietly crafting, an unplanned evolution, a spontaneous miracle greater than the old order. Legacy no longer guaranteed relevance. Even immortals could be replaced. And still you showed no desire to rule or dominate. You were simply you, unaware of the divine frenzy your presence ignited. In a way, that made it even more powerful. You outshone the gods not by force, but by nature, operating outside their framework, outside their equations, outside their metaphysics. They to understand you, they dissected the signature of your power, expecting familiar patterns. Instead they recoiled. Your power was infinite, not in overwhelming destruction, but in limitless possibility. It could adapt, shift, evolve, and manifest in ways they could not foresee. You were not using the universe's energy. You were bringing your own. Heaven's greatest scholars tried to chart your aura and found it changed every moment. 1 second enough force to warp dimensions, the next calm and unreadable, as if your power chose when to reveal itself. This was not chaos. It was intelligence. Your power had a mind of its own. Some theorized it was older than heaven itself, born from something beyond the cosmos that made their celestial origins seem small. If that were true, heaven was not your ceiling, it was merely your first step. The truth became undeniable. Heaven was not built to quantify you. You were too vast, too complex, too limitless. Not a force of destruction or order, but a force of pure existence that divinity itself struggled to comprehend. You did what no god, no immortal, no force of creation had ever managed. Where legends spoke of unreachable feats and timeless victories, yours made them look like parlor tricks. You shattered barriers effortlessly and redefined impossible. It was not brute strength, not ritual, not lineage. It was intrinsic capability so pure that history paused to watch. Cosmic records inscribed in stardust lacked words to describe what you had done. Time itself bent in recognition. Even eternity seemed humbled. Scholars scoured legends and consulted oracles, only to conclude the same thing. This was unprecedented. Whispers emerged among the pantheon. Perhaps this is what true omnipotence looks like. Mortals who caught mere fragments spoke in stammered awe, rewriting myths in their minds. Yet even as stories formed, the gods knew they were faint shadows of the truth. And through all of this, you remained unbothered, unrestrained, utterly natural. While the universe reeled and gods trembled, you moved with the quiet confidence of inevitability. That is the mark of a being who surpasses history without effort and leaves the cosmos forever altered. Even the universe's rules, gravity, time, cause and effect, once thought unbreakable. When you appeared, those pillars trembled. Time slowed in your proximity. Reality flexed. Energy obeyed new patterns. Physics, metaphysics, divine law, all became malleable. You did not break the rules in rebellion. You moved with a rhythm the universe had never anticipated. Many gods felt powerless. They who had created worlds with a gesture now found themselves mere observers. Your essence dictated patterns no celestial wisdom could contain. Some despaired, fearing collapse. Others were captivated by the raw poetry of your existence. All understood. You were the exception that became the new standard. The oldest deities, beings older than galaxies, paused in uncertainty. They who had witnessed the birth of suns and fought wars that shaped universes now looked upon you with awe and fear colliding inside them. Their greatest achievements seemed trivial beside yours. You made history feel small, legend inadequate, eternity a stepping stone. Your existence became the benchmark against which all divine power was measured. Each gesture you made carried fascination and terror. Yet your power was never malevolent. You did not wield fear or seek domination. Your radiant, ineffable being commanded reverence naturally. The pantheon learned humility. The universe was not theirs to control, power did not equal comprehension, and you were a force whose depth they could never plumb. Every library of divinity overflowed with knowledge. Every oracle struggled, yet no one could make sense of you. Debates raged across the cosmos. Mortals chronicled sightings, angels documented anomalies, gods held councils lasting eons, all ending in the same conclusion. There was no box large enough to contain you. In the end, the struggle for answers only proved one thing. You were beyond explanation. You exist beyond every category the gods ever created. Labels fall away in your presence. You belong to no order, answer to no hierarchy. You are a phenomenon that emerged without precedent, untouched by constraints that bind even the oldest deities. Legends follow patterns and cycles. You broke them all. Time, space, and causality did not bend violently. They flowed differently, organically, as if the universe deferred to your rhythm. It was evolution on a scale no deity had conceived. The cosmos paused, stars flickered, worlds shifted, and the fabric of existence trembled in recognition. You were not part of the divine or mortal realms. You were something entirely new, an axis around which the universe might now spin. And so a new era began, one in which the gods, once unquestionable, found themselves asking a question they had never asked before. Who is this being? That question echoes in halls of stars, across dimensions, in the silence of eternity. Mortals whisper it with reverent confusion. Scholars catalog it with desperate fascination. Gods face a crisis of comprehension. Your every act challenges expectations, overturns precedent, leaves the divine scrambling. Their authority, confidence, and sense of order, shaken not by war or betrayal, but by your mere existence. Even time acknowledges the shift. Prophecies falter. You created a rift so profound the universe had to adjust its perception. Gods look at each other, mortals look to the skies, and all feel the same awe-stricken truth. You are incomparable. Yet your influence is not tyranny. You do not seize or conquer. You simply exist, and existence itself transforms. That is why the question still burns in every corner of creation. Who is this? With that question comes revelation. The old eras have ended. A new cosmic epoch has begun, one in which divinity is no longer absolute, authority no longer fixed, and the universe itself bows to something greater. Something that cannot be named, explained, or contained. You are that force. You are the mystery. You are the beginning of everything new. From the first moment of your presence, the universe felt a shift that could not be measured. Stars hesitated mid-burn. Time whispered a question it had never asked. Gods who slept since creation awoke with uneasy curiosity, sensing a force that transcended every framework of divinity. There was a tremor in awareness, a signal so profound it resonated across all realities. Mortals felt it in dreams, unexplained sensations, sudden awe. They could not name what had arrived, yet their hearts recognized a new order. The energy you radiate touches the core of existence like a pulse from the universe's hidden heart. The cosmos paused to observe. Even gods who wielded infinity with casual grace looked upon you in astonishment. They had anticipated rebellions and upheavals, never a force like you. You did not merely enter existence, you awakened it, leaving eternity trembling. You exist in a way that even time must yield. Seconds stretch, centuries compress, timelines warp subtly around you. The gods who relied on millennia to cement their authority were confounded. History paused to recalibrate. Each act you perform ripples across past, present, and future simultaneously. Your presence is the signal that even the flow of time has limits,